Tombstone, Arizona Territory, July 7, 1889.
Now, baby, will you stop worrying? There's nothing to be afraid of.
Are you sure, Frank? I can't help being scared.
Have I ever lied to you? My lawyer's working on an appeal right now. He'll take it direct to the territorial governor. He feels there's a very good chance he can get a reduction of your sentence. Perhaps even a pardon.
But what if he can't?
At the very worst, you'll have to serve 18 months. Baby, I said at the very worst. Whether it's 18 days or 18 months, I'll be working for you all the way. That's a promise, Renee.
You'll write to me.
Sure.
Time's up, Fallon.
What's the hurry, Sheriff?
You asked for 5 minutes, you've had it. The sooner she gets to Yuma, the sooner her time starts. And maybe she'll find out what kind of a deal you roped her into.
You're pretty free with your mouth, aren't you?
You know you're the one I should be taking to Yuma.
Suspect what you like, Sheriff. Proving it, that is something else.
We'll see. Out.
I'll be working for you, day and night.
I'll be working, too. Like you said, proving it is the important part. You better get some rest. We'll be leaving in half an hour.
An actual account from the pages of my newspaper, the Tombstone Epitaph. This is the way it happened. In the town too tough to die. Tombstone Territory. Renee Carter had been tried and found guilty of armed robbery and assault in a recent Tombstone holdup. Sheriff Clay Hollister was preparing to deliver her to the Territorial Prison at Yuma, where she had been ordered to serve a sentence of 18 months for committing the crime.
Oh, Harris.
Expecting trouble?
I hope not.
How's she taking it?
Yeah, she still expects Fallon to get her sentence reduced or commuted.
And they'll live happily ever after, huh?
Yeah, something like that.
Clay?
Yeah?
I know how you feel about Fallon, and I agree he's no good, but...
But what?
Well, it is possible he had nothing to do with robbing and slugging Rogers. Maybe the girl's story is true. She did it by herself.
Harris, what did Doc Cunningham say about Rogers' injuries?
Just that he was hit with something heavy.
Hard enough to fracture his skull. Not one blow, but 4. Lacerations on his scalp prove that.
What's your point?
I've known some pretty hardcore women in my time. I just don't think that Renee Carter's one of them.
Well, her purse was found practically under his body.
That proves that she was there, but not that she did the beating.
Well, if she didn't, she's crazy to stick with that story. Rogers is still in critical condition. Doc Cunningham gives him less than a 50-50 chance. If Rogers dies...
I know. The charge against her would be murder.
What are we waiting for?
Nothing at all. See you at the end of the week.
Right.
Fresno. Whoop.
right? I guess you ain't very sentimental. Just rode by the law coming into town. Looked like they were taking your girlfriend to Yuma Prison.
Couldn't be. My girlfriend's right here. Pour us a drink, will you, honey?
Oh, you sure are something, Frank.
That's right. Don't you ever forget it.
I don't know about you, but I'm getting a little bit hungry. Well, come on. A little food will do you some good. You can rest inside out of the sun.
How far are we going today?
Pantano. Spend the night there, get an early start in the morning.
Will I have to stay in the jail there overnight?
I'm afraid the county doesn't provide funds for hotel rooms, even for female prisoners.
Sheriff? Is Yuma very bad?
It's a prison, Miss Carter. 2 years can seem like an awful long time in a place like Yuma.
Frank will get me out.
Maybe. Must be quite a man, this Frank fella.
And what is that supposed to mean?
Oh, nothing in particular. Just thinking out loud. Wondering, you might say.
About what?
About what Fallon must have offered you to get you to risk being hanged.
Hanged?
Sure. Rogers dies, it's murder.
He isn't going to die.
He's still in a coma. He may never recover consciousness. About time we got going.
Sheriff,
Yes, ma'am?
if that man, Rogers, if he does die,
You'll be brought back to Tombstone to stand trial for murder.
he wouldn't.
Yes, they would. And Fallon will let you take that rap, too. Yeah, he's quite a man.
You don't give up, do you, Sheriff?
Nope.
Oh, Clay, how are you?
Dave?
Is this your prisoner?
Yeah? Renee Carter.
Well, I'll be.
Would you lock me up now, Marshal? I'm tired. I'd like to be alone.
Oh, yes, ma'am. It's a pleasure, ma'am. I mean, right this way, miss. We don't get many women here, miss. If you need anything, miss, just holler.
She will. Some blankets draped around the bars.
Hmm?
Give the lady some privacy.
Oh, sure.
Dave. Huh? The door.
are, gentlemen. Read 'em and weep.
Tough luck, fellas.
You brought me luck, baby.
Well, looks at that stack, Fallon. There must be some truth to the old adage about gamblers.
What are you talking about?
Lucky at cards, unlucky in love.
Your eyes must be going bad, Clyburn.
I've just come from the telegraph office.
Some other time, newsman. How about some blackjack?
Judge Leary sent a telegraph order to the sheriff. The order was for Hollister to bring Renee Carter back to Tombstone.
Bring her back?
To stand trial for murder.
Rogers.
Died this afternoon. I thought you would like to know.
It's got nothing to do with me.
I was under the impression Renee Carter was a friend of yours.
When it comes to murder, Clyburn, I've got no friends. Male or female.
Too bad. She's gonna need a friend. Maybe when she finds out she hasn't got one, she'll change her mind.
About what, Editor?
About a lot of things. Ought to be a very interesting trial. Good evening, gentlemen.
Not now, not now.
I don't like it, Fallon.
She isn't back yet.
Carter,
I'm ready.
take your time. You're going to be here for a while.
Why?
I got a couple of wires. One last night and one this morning. The first was from Judge Leary ordering you back to Tombstone. Rogers died yesterday.
Oh, no.
The second was from a friend of mine. It seems that Fallon and Blake left Tombstone this morning, headed in this direction.
Frank's coming to help me. Maybe the governor has approved my appeal.
There hasn't been time for that. Fallon isn't coming to help you. He's going to try to kill you.
July 8, 1889. The road to Pantano, Arizona Territory.
I spotted a dozen good places, Frank. We keep going, we'll be clear to Pantano.
I know what I'm doing. There's a spot about 10 miles outside of Pantano. Road cuts off in the hills. A lot of big boulders.
All right, you're the boss.
Well, it took some doing, but I got it. Yeah, that ought to do just fine. I'd like to borrow your hat and cape for a few hours.
What for?
It's a little plan I've got to prove to you how much Fallon really thinks of you.
What do you mean?
You think he's going to save you. I think he's going to kill you.
Still trying, Sheriff.
You ought to be glad he is, miss.
You see, I figure if I can prove to you that Fallon is using you to save his neck, you might tell the truth about the robbery.
I told the truth.
I don't think so.
If Frank tries to free me, that doesn't mean that he has anything to do with...
And if he tries to kill you?
All right, Sheriff. But you're wasting your time.
What time is it?
20 past 1.
You think maybe Hollister knows we're waiting?
Not unless he's a fortune teller. All right, get down the road. We'll hit him from 2 angles.
Right. Remember, I ain't shooting at the girl, just the sheriff.
All right, so go on.
Up, Rowdy. Convinced?
Not exactly. After all, you
Could have done it myself? Is that what you were going to say? Dave Short is taking Blake's body over to the undertaker right now. Would you like to see it?
No.
Do you think I arranged that too? Blake and Fallon put those holes in your cape and nobody else.
Is Frank?
No, he's all right. He's probably halfway back to Tombstone by now. With you dead, he's got nothing to worry about.
I want to see Frank, Sheriff. Let's get started back for Tombstone.
What for? So he can lie to you again? So he can ruin your life to save his own? What does it take to convince you? Look, Renee, we know that Ed Rogers was having a winning streak at Frank's table. Won almost $1,000. So Frank told you to get the old man alone, that he wanted to talk to him, didn't he? Fallon and Blake did the beating, didn't they?
I want to see Frank.
All right. All right. Right now, Fallon thinks you're dead. We're gonna give him a surprise he'll never forget. Get your things together. We're going back to Tombstone as soon as I can send a wire.
Been somewhere, Fallon?
What's that to you?
Nothing. Nothing at all. Just wondered if you'd heard the news.
Why don't you go peddle your papers?
Too bad about Renee Carter. But I guess it's all for the best.
How was that?
She's dead. The wire came a couple of hours ago from Pantano. Seems it was your friend Blake who was mixed up in the Rogers killing. You heard Sheriff Clay Hollister was bringing her back here to stand trial. He must have decided to shut her up for good.
Well, newsman, what do you know? The ladies are thirsty, so keep it coming. Yes, sir, Frank Fallon knows how to treat his friends. I've got one simple little rule. My friends treat me right, I treat them right. I always say, you treat people right, and they're your friends. Frank Fallon hasn't got an enemy in the world. No, sir.
You've got one, Fallon. And that one's gonna hang you.
I'm getting fed up with you, Hollister.
No, I haven't even started on you yet.
You got
You're
no
under
right.
arrest
Arrest?
for the murder of Ed Rogers.
Renee Carter murdered Rogers, and you know it.
Why did you offer to help her? How about that appeal to the governor?
What appeal? Why don't you check for yourself and see, Hollister? There's nothing like that there. Not that my lawyer knows about.
Oh. Harris.
How did you...
How did she what, Fallon? Come back to life after you killed her?
A trick. A lousy trick.
Mm-hmm. And you fell for it. You thought you'd killed the only person who could convict you of murder.
And I will, Frank. I'll help them put that rope around your neck. It was just like you thought, Sheriff. Exactly. Only after I got Ed Rogers alone, and Frank and Blake started beating him, I fainted. When I woke up, Frank was carrying me to my room. I'd lost my purse. Or someone took it.
Oh, baby, baby, you're not going to listen to the things this man's been telling you. Look, honey, this is Frank. Why, I'd do anything for you. You know that.
Then hang for me.
Let's go, Fallon.
No. No?
Hard or easy. Any way you want it.
Oh, I could kill you, baby.
Clay?
What did Leary say?
He's all for it. So's the town council.
Let's go tell her. Renee.
Is something wrong?
No, ma'am, something's right. Judge Leary has agreed to review your case.
Practically insisted.
But why?
Justice isn't really blind, Miss Carter. Your only crime was in covering up for Fallon.
You see, you helped the law, so now the law's trying to help you.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Whistle me up a memory, whistle me back where I wanna be, whistle a tune that'll carry me to Tombstone territory. If your past has run afoul of the law, it's a handy place to be, 'cause your future's just as good as your draw in Tombstone territory. Whistle me up a memory. Whistle me back where I wanna be. To Tombstone Territory.